Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of The World Today. As usual, we are going to discuss many headlines published on national and international websites, and we are going to start with our local news. But before we start, let me first welcome our dear guest live here in the studio, Mr. Hossein Nassar, our political analyst of this episode. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
My pleasure as always.
And we are going to start from Al-Ahram Online, where we read, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi pardons 82 prisoners, mostly university students. Those pardoned include students and journalists, TV host al-Bahari, MD Ahmed Saeed, and photographer Muhammad Ali Salah are also pardoned. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has pardoned 82 prisoners, and according to the media office of the Egyptian presidency, most of those pardoned are university students. The presidential statement said that this was the first batch of prisoners to be pardoned in accordance with Article number 155 of the Constitution, and before the end of the year, another batch are going to be released with another pardon. Sir, why they were pardoned, the mechanism of their pardon, this is a story. But what here for me is something significant, that it came less than a month after this issue was raised in the International Youth Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh. Meaning that when those recommendations turned to be presidential directives, it's really on the ground a process going on, not only ink on paper, as we say. How do you see about the timing? How do you see about the mechanism? How do you see about other directives which inshallah are going to be implemented on the ground, with many committees already held or formed to follow up the results or the recommendations of the Sharm el-Sheikh Youth Conference? Number one.
Well, the mechanism is there, a constitutional mechanism, and the president has every right to pardon whichever he likes. Politically, it's a good move, bridging the gap between the authorities and, I don't want to say the youth at large, but part of the youth who are feeling a bit aggravated about having some youth being jailed or sentenced. And it is especially good for pardoning Islam al-Bahari as well.
Yeah.
Though I disagree with his ways of handling things, but he was at least making a different path into looking at things, right? So I think the move was welcomed by so many people, and the fact that it did not include Doma and Adil and the rest is as well welcomed, because these youth were misjudging things, called by their youth nature to do things, to demonstrate, to do stupid actions. However, they were not paid to do so, they were not pushed to do so. They did that in, I don't want to say in a good manner, but
if they were paid and they accepted to be paid out of being that poor, this is also the society's problem.
Of course.
And it's also one of our duties to protect those youth, our sons, not to be included into under the umbrella of terrorism or of inciting violence or whatever, you name it, because of their basic needs, of their of being that much in need.
Well, we're all in needs in one way or another. It's not an excuse for anybody to go against the state or to raise a kind of a radicalist.
But do you consider an 18-year-old an adult, sir?
Well, I consider an 11-year-old as adult.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about myself, I mean, since I was in my early youth, I was supporting for Egypt, and I never imagined myself committing such crime under whatever circumstance.
Yeah.
So for this, it's not an excuse. But the youth who have been demonstrating or trying to demonstrate or trying to go against the law of banning or rationalizing demonstrations, I think it was kind of an impulsive attitude, and it's a good thing to for the president to pardon them after a month from the youth conference in Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes. Taking you to Egypt Independent, where we are still with local news, with investors finding bright spot in Egyptian stocks despite Trump slump Bloomberg. Egyptian stocks are the best performance in 94 exchanges worldwide in dollar terms since the 8th of November, according to a Bloomberg report on Wednesday titled "World Beating Egypt Stocks Defy Trump Slump as Foreigners Return." The US-based market analysis agency said that investors are finding the rare bright spot in Egypt amid the emerging market rout, which has followed the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States. Let's focus, sir, on Egyptian economy and investment. Whenever all the banking expert or the economists are saying that we have taken the right decision, it's okay. Whenever that we are saying that we are just eliminating all the obstacles on the way in front of investors, it's okay. But how without, till the moment, a law of investment?
Good question. I think the investment law is being cooking. I was invited possibly 3 weeks ago. I did not go, but they've laid down the law to discuss among business people and interested parties. Hence, I'm expecting the investment law to be issued anytime. But the law generally comes up after laying down the facts, the things that would make the economy smooth. And having a dual-priced dollar or a dual-priced Egyptian pound is definitely not an investment encouraging
not in the best interest of our economy at all.
So having this, in the past, and for the first time we're dealing with a free kind of dollar to Egyptian pounds, despite the fact that the central bank is doing directives, but it's been left to the banks to come up with a dollar rate every day through the interbanking, and it's a healthy sign, and it's been welcomed by every economical analyst in the world. Immediately, the ratings for the Egypt economy improved. Standard Poor's, So all the reports are coming in the positive direction. It's a kind of a very late move, but it's better late than never.
Yeah. But regarding the bourse, regarding the market, is it a real reflection of a good start, or it's deceiving to have all these gains in the past 2 weeks?
It's partly economical and partly political.
Okay.
And I have to salute the playing the words slump Trump. Because it just coincided with having Trump as the new president-elect in the United States. And it's a different ball game. It's a totally, I consider it a paradigm shift. America is changing. For the first time since a very long time, we're seeing entrepreneurial America. Not corporate America, not political America, not policing America, but we're seeing a figure such as Trump, who's self-made, self-satisfied, making or representing the true American dream. And he came to power with nearly no help from the media. And he's changing things. The fact that he's a bottom line person, he spends his money where he's expecting a profit, would change the American perspective that has been there since Kissinger. Policing the world and intervening in the world instead of competing with the world.
Why Europe is that afraid of the tenure of Trump? I mean, on Reuters, on the AFP, many headlines were published today. Europe seeks assurances from Obama that Trump is going to work with them the same way. Something which is really amazing. Is America, for the first time, exposed to the whole world as a one-man show country? It's not. Then why? Why this kind of fears or worries?
Because Europe was dragged into the conspiracy, the American conspiracy against the world, trying to change every strategic map or every strategic plot.
Yeah.
So Europe is kind of fragile. They have been trained and fed by the Americans to kind of becoming hostile against Russia. Now the Russian president and the Russian media was one of the reasons Trump made it in the US. And it seems like the relationship between US and Russia is forgetting about 100 years, nearly 100 years of hostility.
Hostility, yeah.
So we're facing a new era, a new paradigm. Yeah. Hence, Europe is hesitant. The economy of Europe is suffering. Politically, it's a bit fragile. They are afraid of either extreme leftists or extreme rightists. Hence, there is a political turmoil in Europe trying to understand what would be the American, because they've been living for 60 or 70 years under the protection of the US.
Yeah. And politics can never be separated from economy. Only today, the Russian parliament approved budget deficit plan, meaning that we are dealing with an economic crisis worldwide, and it's not directed or related to a certain region. So let's return just for 1 minute to Egypt and to Egypt economy before moving to regional news. Because when it comes to investment, and this is very important, the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi decided to have this investment council to be headed by him. This means once again that the economic circle we have still in need of the president to tell them what to do, or at least to sign on behalf of them whenever there are fears, to sign on this and not to sign on that. In addition to bureaucracy, in addition to stuff like the one-stop shop, for example. Such was a hope for investment, but unfortunately it was not implemented, or at least it was not implemented in the proper way. How do you see this, sir, as an atmosphere?
It's not a positive atmosphere. However, sometimes you need that guidance.
Yeah.
Especially when you're facing a crisis, when you're facing or getting rid of the legacy of a conspiracy that has been there for the past 6 years. You're fighting wars against militias and against terrorism. You need to have someone who's owning the vision. And we should not be forgetting that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is not representing himself. He's coming up with an institutional idea coming from the military, and the military has an idea about how to steer Egypt. So it's important, though it's not that positive having him on the board, but it's important for some time for the people in charge to get the perspective right from the one who owns the vision of how to handle things from hands to mouth.
Yeah.
So in this phase, it's extremely important having Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on board.
To speak about this conspiracy, I cannot imagine the amount of rumors which are really taking place a day after the other regarding the economic status of Egypt. Yesterday, only yesterday, the cabinet refuted reports saying that we have had this loan of the IMF for the debts of the oil companies, and this is completely untrue. That even our fish in the market are poisoned, and we are suffering from this even with our food, not to export them even. With people speaking about the dollar, that it's going to reach 20 or 25 pounds next week, and by this the price are going also to be increased again and again. How do you see all these rumors and how the Egyptians should deal with them?
It's becoming an hourly practice by the Muslim Brotherhood to come up with a gossip plot, a grand plot. And I wrote the status possibly 2 days ago. They are playing on the basic needs of people, shelter and education and health. And so they are focusing their gossiping mechanism and gossiping techniques on aggravating people whenever it is in regards with their basic needs. But the good thing about it is that it's diluted on the hour as well. So it comes up on the hour, and it dilutes itself on the hour whenever people are dismissing it or not feeling it. So I think the gossiping mechanism of the Ikhwan or the Muslim Brotherhood is failing.
Yeah.
In the same fashion they are failing in everything else.
Yes. We are going to move to the Gulf today, to Iraq, and to know more about the battle in Al-Mosul. Iraqi forces advance into Al-Mosul under fire, soldier killed. Iraqi troops advanced cautiously into eastern districts of Al-Mosul on Friday, facing stiff resistance from Daesh militants a day after they opposed their assault due to poor visibility. Airstrikes, automatic fire, and artillery were heard from dawn, and one soldier was reported killed in clashes. Civilians, some of them wounded, could be seen fleeing the fighting. How do you see now the battle in Iraq, sir? I know that you are not optimistic because it's the Iraqi army. Because the whole vision is not that good, at least with the intervention of Turkey in Iraq, while the Iraqis said it bluntly that we do not want to see Turkish presence on our lands. How do you see the vision from a panoramic point of view?
Daesh is finished. Politically it's finished. I mean, it has no support. It has no support from Turkey. It has no support from the US even before Trump. The kind of indirect support that was being funneled to them through indirect Gulf representatives as well is being diluted. So the story of Daesh is finished. The Iraqis are trying to consolidate their sovereign borders. The Turkish are not really having the free hand into that zone because of the Kurdish existence in the territory.
Or the PKK.
And the Peshmerga have done a great job handling Daesh as well. So it's a matter of time before you see things totally diluted, and Iraq and Syria will be kind of restored as sovereign states again.
Sir, of course, my viewers know that I'm interested in sports and in football in specific. And our dear veteran coach Muhammad Yusuf is working in Iraq, especially in Baghdad. And I was listening to him in one of his phone interviews with one of the programs. He said that in Baghdad the case is fine, and their league is doing okay, and the fans are filling the standings whenever there is a match in the Iraqi Premier League. What's going on in Mosul is that far. It's 7 to 8 hours from Baghdad. But this means that the Iraqis are going on.
Of course.
I mean, life there is going on.
Yeah.
And there is no obstacle on the way to find themselves working, practicing their daily life routine without any obstacles on the way, as I said. How do you see the Iraqi people looking at the image? I mean, have they been prepared all the time to listen to bombing news or death news or victims here and there, and said that we are going to continue, or since 2003, or this is how it goes? I mean, they are living a day by day.
I just happen to have a lot of Iraqi friends, a lot of Iraqi dear friends. They are extremely resourceful people, very stubborn when it comes to life, and they'll get through no matter what. They are very similar to us. They carry the 5,000 years civilization. So they are very broad-minded people, extremely resourceful, life-loving people, and they'll get through. And the intervention of Russia into Syria and then threatening the states to have a presence as well, finishing Daesh, have made them more hopeful and more forward-looking people. So things are looking good in the funnel for both Iraq and Syria.
I was amazed to know that people would go to the football matches to watch their football games. And I felt that sad that we cannot do this in Egypt. Till the moment, I don't know why.
But we did it recently with Ghana. So
great, but only with the national team. I hope that
it has to be a start, and it was a good start, and it was a good, a different panorama.
Yep, imagine that.
So just give it some more time.
Okay. From Iraq to Iran. From the Daily Star, we read, Iran denies any breach to nuclear accord. Iran denied Friday that it had in any way breached its nuclear deal with world powers, insisting it was meeting its commitment to cap its stocks of controlled materials. Well, again, some rumors or some voices which are going to be heard after Trump's election, and to ask, or at least to have these statements for discussion. Would the Iranian American accord, it's going to continue the same way, or the honeymoon is going to end by the end of Obama's administration?
It's difficult to tell right now. However, Iran is under the spot now.
Yeah.
Their main protege for the past 40 or 50 years was Russia.
Yeah.
But they recently started to play games with the U.S., encouraged by Obama's direction. And Obama's direction towards Iran was trying to manipulate the Saudis and to manipulate the Syrian dilemma. Trump would definitely give it another look. So Iran is under the radar screen of the whole world. Will Russia continue to protege them? Is the honeymoon between them and the United States is over? What is the status of Europe? What is the status of Israel? What is the status of the Egyptian-Iranian relationship? It remains to be said and told. Nobody yet would have the right vision about how Iran will handle things. They are sitting on nukes, definitely.
Yeah.
But they've been maneuvering it for the past 10, 15 years, and it was becoming a kind of a de facto. But it is threatening other regional powers, such as Israel, Egypt, Saudi. Playing the Sunnah and the Shia thing is a different dimension. So Iran is a big question mark.
A big question mark, but I think that we cannot deny that Iran under Hassan Rouhani and with the diplomacy of Mohammad Javad Zarif is different.
Of course.
I mean, it's not the Ahmadinejad, this hardliner. They did not know even how to use diplomacy. But Iran today, or under those two in specific, I think it became different.
They play their cards well.
Yes.
And they play it.
And this is politics, sir.
And they play it according to the international panoramic view.
Yes.
If it requires being a hardliner, a hardliner would pop up.
Yeah.
If it requires a different agenda, then a softliner would appear. So they're playing their cards well. Iran is a well-managed kind of state.
Yep. And we are going to return back to the American file. Obama urging Trump against realpolitik in relations with Russia. Barack Obama warned Trump against taking purely realpolitik approach to relations with Russia and encouraged his successor to continue standing up for American values.
What are these American values that is so different with the Russian values now? That statement was valid 30 years ago when there was the ideological Soviet Union. But Russia is more capitalist than the US now.
Yeah.
So there is no big difference between the Russian economy and the American economy. Hence, I do not really understand what Obama is saying, if he himself does understand it.
I don't think that he is understanding what he's saying, sir. But to tomorrow is another day, and we are going to see how Trump is going.
The problem
to
is that Obama and before that Clinton and all the presidents after Kissinger and possibly Dallas were playing the same game against Russia. Russia is always an enemy. They do not consider Russia as part of the Western culture.
Then the Cold War never ended.
The Cold War never ended till now. Now it's ending because there is no reason actually for Russian-European friction
A
or
show
Russian.
of power is going all the time to be a reason for Cold War.
And that's why I said Trump will change things because he does not have the policing agenda.
Yeah.
He will compete in a free market. He will compete with Russia. He will compete with China in a free kind of will.
Then one final question, and it's a one-word answer, sir. Will Trump lead America as an economist or a politician?
He's both. He's an economist and a politician.
Mr. Hossein Nastar, it's always a pleasure to have you on Nile TV International
Likewise,
screen.
my dear.
Thank you very much for your input. Have a very good day.
Same to you.
Well, by this we come to the end of this episode of The World Today. Till we meet again same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. This was Nurmina Abdurrahman.